Welcome back to the Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling podcast.
If you just finished part 1 with Godric Sandwell, thank you for hanging out with us. If you skipped ahead looking for predictions and previews, well, first of all, go back and listen to the interview. We see you.
Because now it's time to talk about a wrestling weekend that has absolutely no interest in letting fans catch their breath.
We've got 4 major events spread across multiple promotions, multiple countries, and enough championship matches to make your prediction sheet look like a college final exam.
We're starting with WWE Night of Champions, where titles and reputations are on the line.
Then we're heading over to NXT Great American Bash, where the next generation gets another chance to prove they're ready for the spotlight.
After that, we're making our way to TNA Slammiversary, a show that's become one of the biggest annual events on the TNA calendar and always seems to deliver something people are talking about on Monday morning.
And finally, we close the weekend with AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door, where AEW joins forces with New Japan Pro Wrestling, Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre, and World Wonder Ring Stardom to remind everyone that professional wrestling is a worldwide language.
We've got predictions, we've got bold takes, and we've got a few disagreements.
And by the end of this segment, at least one of us will be convinced we're about to predict every match correctly.
Spoiler alert, history suggests otherwise.
So get ready to settle in and let's preview one of the biggest weekends of professional wrestling this year. Part 2 starts now.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
All right, guys, before we jump back into the show, I got to tell you about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that's looking like $1 million without spending $1 million.
If you're listening to the Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling podcast, you're already a top-tier wrestling fan. You care about the history, you care about the storytelling, you care about who really won that promo battle.
So why not dress like it?
Over at Pro Wrestling Tees, you can grab the official Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling merch. And buddy, this isn't some fly-by-night cheap print situation.
We're talking soft, comfortable tees.
Clean, bold designs.
The kind of shirt that works at a live show, a meetup, or your weekly pay-per-view watch party.
And here's the thing. When you rock the logo, you're not just wearing a shirt, you're repping the show. You're part of the conversation, and you're part of the community.
So do me a favor.
Right now, open up that browser.
Search Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling on Pro Wrestling Tees.
Grab the shirt. Maybe grab 2. One for you, one for the tag partner in your life.
Support the podcast, support the brand.
And look like you belong in the front row while you're doing it.
All right, let's get back to the show. This will be the 12th Night of Champions and will take place on Saturday, June 27th, 2026 at the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for the second consecutive year. So the start time is going to be at 1 p.m. You can watch this in the United States on ESPN. International audiences can watch it on Netflix. So these matches are going to tell us who the king and queen of the ring are?
Yes, and they'll get a title shot at SummerSlam.
So I think it's going to be Oba and Io, but we'll see. I don't know. So we're going to have a non-title queen of the ring match. It's going to be Io Sky and Liv Morgan. Winner, like you said, gets that title shot at SummerSlam. Do you think it's going to be Io?
It makes sense that it would be Io, but it also, at the same time, do you want your world heavyweight champion losing?
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense for her to win. It doesn't even make sense that she's in this tournament. Meltzer's talked about it. I feel the same exact way. Like, why is she even in the tournament? She already has a title shot.
To prove that she's the best. And also, if she wins this, she could effectively challenge Rhea for the WWE Women's title.
And she'd have 2 belts.
And then she could be 2 belts Liv.
That. I'd rather see 2 belts Rhea.
Yeah, I mean, you could also set up, with Io winning, it makes total sense to go back to the Io and Rhea feud.
It would be like the match we've been waiting for.
Right. But Rhea's dealing with an injury right now, so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. There was an injury scare that Liv had last week in England, so there's a lot of things to consider here. But I agree with you. I think Io's going to win. The big match for SummerSlam is Io and Rhea. That could be a headlining match. It would get a lot of people talking. It's something people have wanted if they're going to give it the real showcase time.
Yeah.
But I certainly, as a huge Liv Morgan fan, I wouldn't be upset with her winning either because it gives her more to talk about, more to brag about.
More accolades.
Right. It could also further that divide in Judgment Day, allowing for someone like Roxanne to step up and make that leap.
Yeah. Then we're gonna have the King of the Ring 2026 final match. So Jey Uso versus Oba Femi. To me, it doesn't make sense to have Oba lose because, he was on this upward trajectory, beating Brock Lesnar, everybody he came across, and then Brock Lesnar kicked his ass. I don't think he's lost any momentum because of that. I mean, he is over. He is so over. But, I mean, who do you think's gonna win or why? Why? Your pick and why?
I mean, I think it's going to be Jey Uso.
Boo.
The bloodline is front and center. It
Yeah.
puts him on a collision course with Cody Rhodes, someone who he's been friends with, who he's been cool with. But now that the bloodline is back together, there's, a lot at play with that to see. Could we see the debuting Zilla Fatu
Oh, yeah, that's
at
right.
this? I personally think we're in Saudi Arabia. It's always a Brock Lesnar area. They love to see Brock there. I could see Brock definitely costing Oba the match
Yeah.
and allowing Jay to pick up the win.
Furthering the feud.
Right, and then setting up the rubber match because they've constantly talked about it. Oba has said Lesnar's gotten one win, he's gotten one win, he'll see him down the line. Well, you're in Brock Lesnar's area, and then it sets up what I think would be a last man standing match with Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam.
But do you think that they actually have to pay Brock Lesnar and fly him all the way to Saudi Arabia, or could they just hit his music, distract Oba, Jay wins
No,
that
he's going to
way?
be there. Saudi Arabia wants to see him. They want to see the Beast. He'll be insanely over. They're big in MMA. He's a former UFC world champion. He's had big matches over the years in Saudi Arabia, so it makes total sense. And to have Jay, be on the verge of being, the next guy in the bloodline, it can also, create some tension with Jacob because Jacob
Yeah.
has not been very fond of Jay throughout this whole process, and Jay failing to beat Cody sets up Jacob to go after Cody finally.
Yeah.
After all the back and forth earlier in the year where we thought we were going to get a triple threat and everything, but it never came to pass. So I could definitely see it going that way. But I got Jay Uso coming out on top of this King of the Ring final match.
Then we are going to have the WWE Women's United States title match. Tiffany Stratton, the current champ for that title, versus Jade Cargill. I've heard positive things about Jade Cargill lately. People are saying that she is improving and things like that. But I mean, I'm not really a fan of either of these wrestlers. So I guess it doesn't matter to me much who wins. But who do you think's going to win? And is Jade Cargill improving?
Yeah, I mean, her last few matches have been a little bit better. Um, I've really enjoyed the storyline with Tiffany and Jade throughout the weeks. It has incorporated one of our favorites, Chelsea Green,
Yes.
who came out and made the save for Tiffany on SmackDown, and it, seems like Tiffany is finally open to, pairing with Chelsea.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I also think it could, you know, lead to a Tiffy and Chelsea feud, which would be great.
Like
But
Chelsea gets in the way instead of helping and Tiff loses the match.
it could be. This is also the first time the women's U.S. title has been defended on PLE. So big showcase for them. And I think with Tiffany making all of these comments about how she's elevating the U.S. title, I think that's going to strike a chord with Chelsea
Yeah.
and maybe further her into, her hot mess gimmick.
Yeah.
And, seeing as she was the, first ever, longest reigning, two-time Women's United States champion,
Yeah.
could cause some issue. But I definitely think Tiffy's going to retain, and they'll build up Jade maybe for like a six-woman match. I would like to see a faction of like Tiffy, Chelsea, and Blake Monroe. I think that would be interesting. And I think Tiffy and Blake doing their version of, Mariah May and Tony Storm would be something interesting,
Yeah.
and it would be fun. But we'll see.
Then we have the WWE United States title match between Trick Williams and Ricky Saints. Congrats to Trick Williams getting married to Lash Legend in Jamaica recently. That was all over the internet. Trick Williams is the current champ right now. Is it time for Big Booty Judy to step up and get a championship for himself, or is Trick too over?
Yeah, I think Trick's 2 over. I got Trick retaining in this match. I think this could be an outstanding match. I'm glad Ricky's getting the showcase already on a, big time event like this against Trick. This could be a good match for both these guys. If given the time, I think this could develop into a decent feud. I'm still of the belief that if Trick's going to lose this title, he should lose it to Carmelo and further that feud that they started in NXT and get that going. But I think this is going to be great. I'm excited to see the Trick Williams entrance on a big stage like in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
It should be fun. And Ricky Saints is awesome. He was great in AEW,
Yeah.
and he was
Great heel.
yeah, he was entertaining in NXT, but I think in the main roster, he's going to be a lot more impactful. His personality is going to come out,
Yeah.
and a lot of different ways you can go with him, but it should be a really good match.
Then we're gonna have a steel cage match between Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. I'm super excited about this match. I think it, can be a showstopper as long as they hit all their spots. I mean, as long as Braun does. I feel like he's the one that messes up in the matches, but it'll be an exciting match. Now, are there any implications for this match, or is it just settling a feud?
Just settling the feud. This has been a long-standing feud. This looks like it could finally be the blow-off in this feud. So we'll see. If this was a traditional steel cage match where we're going to get some violence, some color, and they really go all out, I think this match could steal the show.
Yeah.
But if it's a WWE style cage match where the cage is there, but it's not really a factor and it's not really, violent or anything crazy, then it'll just be, what it is, a match.
Yeah.
And my problem when WWE does things like steel cage matches, these hardcore matches, like
Might
they're
as well be a pillow fight.
yeah, it should be violence. You're having a blow off to this feud. You're in a steel cage. You're in a Hell in a Cell, whatever it may be. Go all out. Don't have a cookie cutter cage match because at that point, just have a regular match.
Yeah.
Um, I think Seth is gonna come out on top here. I think they're gonna start building towards Seth getting that shot against Roman. I could see that being, an entertaining feud down the line, you know, after SummerSlam,
Yeah.
because it certainly seems like, we're building to Cody and CM Punk. That's the rumor for the one title match, and then the King of the Ring final.
Yeah.
That could be something else. I mean, if Oba does win, Oba and Roman, that would certainly be interesting. Oba's already said that he wants Roman. So, I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of different things could happen. We could see a triple threat. You could see any number of things go, a certain way. But I think eventually you're going to get that Seth and Roman match.
I agree. I think it would be a great match. Then we're having the undisputed WWE title triple threat match. Cody Rhodes is finally going to retire by the hands of Gunther, and Sami Zayn's just sprinkled in. Is that what's happening?
Absolutely not.
Okay, Cody's too young to retire, but I mean, are they taking the strap off Cody, or are they going to keep him as the champ? I mean,
I mean, I business says keep Cody as the champ, but WWE is all about moments. And is this the moment they finally pull the trigger on Sami Zayn and give him that run? I mean, could we also see a returning Kevin Owens to make an impact and help his longtime best friend, best enemy, tag team partner
Yeah.
secure that win? I mean, it would be interesting. And, you know, in Saudi Arabia, they would go absolutely, bananas for Sammy picking up the win.
Yeah.
It would be huge. It would come out of nowhere. You don't really expect Sammy to pick up the win in this type of match, with Cody and Gunther, but man, that would be what a way to start off this weekend to end the first show with Sami Zayn coming off, becoming WWE champion.
Uh,
It would be a headliner. It would be something that, everybody talks about and would definitely be news. But I envision Cody retaining the title and going on to SummerSlam, but it certainly wouldn't shock me if Sammy pulls off the upset of upsets.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to do it here. It also made sense to do it when they were in Saudi Arabia last time, though. So it's like,
Yeah.
is he the Susan Lucci of wrestling or what? Like,
Yeah.
always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah, it could be too little too late, but I think if you are going to pull it off for Sammy, and the thing is, he doesn't have to have a 6 month title run. It could be a month, it could be 2 months. He could
Yeah.
hold it to SummerSlam. I mean, Jey Uso and Sami Zayn, I mean, that's a huge story too, if that were a match at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
With their friendship and their background, it would be interesting. And Sammy being front and center back with, the bloodline going against them,
Yeah.
the possibilities are endless there. You have the back and forth, and Roman accepted him, then he turned on Roman, and all of that. So there's a number of ways it could go, but this has the potential to be a pretty decent night of champions.
Yeah.
Are they going to give these matches the time? Are we going to see you know 5 to 8 minute matches, or are we going to actually see some people get some real time?
Right.
That's the difference. WWE can put on these good shows if they want to.
Right.
If they want to do more than just give the main event 20 plus minutes, it'll be a good show. But if they shortchange some of these matches, make the commercials too long, you're going to hear, the same constant feedback that you're hearing online all the time.
Right. Right.
So we'll see. But it'll be interesting as we continue our road to SummerSlam.
It's gonna be fun. Then let's talk about the upcoming NXT show. So this is going to take place on Sunday, June 28th, 2026. So tomorrow at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. What time are we looking at for this show?
They are going head to head with AEW's Forbidden Door. So they will be on the same exact time, 8 p.m. on Sunday, going against AEW.
That's insane. So it'll be simulcast on the CW and ESPN Unlimited in the United States, marking the first NXT live streaming event to air on both platforms under a new multi-year agreement. And like you said, it's going head to head with Forbidden Door. I mean, I am absolutely not invested in NXT, so probably I won't watch any of it unless you switch between the two. But um, there are a good handful of matches on here. Um, are you excited about this pay-per-view or is it just there?
There's a couple good matches that we'll get to. I think it could be coming out moments for certain individuals on this card. But, they're just using NXT as a way to try and hurt AEW.
Yeah.
And at the same time of trying to hurt AEW, does it also benefit your talent?
Right.
Does it benefit the people you're trying to get over? You know, every time that you've seen NXT go head to head with AEW, it doesn't work out well. Could this be the time that it actually hurts AEW? Sure, it could. They're going to be on network television on the CW. So if you don't want to spend the money to watch AEW, you can still enjoy, NXT on network TV.
Right.
they're gonna have some good matches, but, you know, don't split your audience. That doesn't benefit anybody.
I agree.
And, most of the diehards are gonna pick the AEW show because it's gonna be the better of the 2 shows. It could be the best show of the weekend, could be the best show of the month,
Best show of the year.
could be. But, I just hate how, the politics get involved in everything instead of just everybody being successful, everybody eating, everybody getting their time to shine.
Yeah.
Why go head to head? Why not put it on in the afternoon or,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
mean,
there's a bunch of ways to go, but
yeah.
this is the WWE way.
Let's jump into it. So we're gonna have a singles match, Saquon Sugars and Dion Lennox. Doesn't look like there's a title on the line. What's the implications of this match?
It's been a long-standing feud between the two. Out of the two, I think Dion Lennox has the bigger upside. This is just basically getting these two guys, familiarity with the audience, getting them prepped, and starting to build new characters. When they did the most recent call-ups with WWE, they lost a lot of talent. They sent up Mariah May, they sent up Ricky Saints, they sent up Trick Williams. You lost all this talent and now you have to get these new people over. So, it's been a slow build. You've got some good talent there, mostly at the top of the card, but they're slowly trying to, build these guys. And, this is how you do it. You give them
Yeah.
opportunities to shine.
Then we have an NXT North American title match. Miles Bourne's the current champ. He'll be facing Tavion Heights. Who do you think's going to walk away the champ in this match?
I think this could be the shining moment for Tavion Heights. He's, getting a lot of, momentum behind him. Everybody's more familiar with Miles Bourne. Uh, he's been the North American champion for some time. If you remember, he's the one that is currently dating Stephanie Vaquer,
Okay.
and he is partially deaf.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh, Tavion Heights, he's been gaining momentum, and I think this is his time to shine. And I think we'll see a new North American champion.
Then we have the NXT Women's title match. Lola Vice, the current champ, is going up against Kendall Gray. Now, Kendall Gray is the hot shit right now, right? She's the one that everybody has high hopes for.
Yeah, she's the one that everybody loses their mind when Dave Meltzer comments that she's going to be, the biggest deal in women's wrestling and that
Yeah.
at her current stage, she's the best, women's wrestler he's seen for the amount of experience she has. And I'm actually excited for this match. If I was going to flip over, it would probably be to see this match. Kendall Gray has alluded that her gear is going to be Kurt Angle inspired.
That's awesome.
So she's going to be going all out. If you haven't seen Kendall Gray, don't just judge everything off of what Dave Meltzer says, even though she is fantastic. And, I happen to agree with Dave Meltzer that she's really good. She's really talented. And this could be her moment to shine
Yeah.
over Lola Vice, who has been fantastic,
She's great.
who has been very entertaining, whether it's in AAA or NXT. But I think Kendall Gray is the future. I think the possibilities with her being champion are endless. And like we mentioned, this is a new era for NXT.
Yeah.
And what way to kick it off than to have some meaningful title changes and giving someone the rub like Kendall Gray goes a long way.
Yeah, I agree. I think the next match I'm most excited for, Naraku, formerly known as Evil, is getting a title shot versus Tony D'Angelo. I mean, Naraku's only been in NXT for what, a month or two, right? He only just joined with them recently. And we loved him when he was in New Japan. Obviously I'm not a fan of the name change, but it would be exciting to see him get the title so early in his NXT career. Is that something you think would happen? I know you've got a little bit more NXT under your belt than I do.
I don't see it happening. I would be totally shocked if they changed the world title here. Tony D'Angelo is someone that they built for a long time.
Mhm.
And I think when he does lose, uh, you got to build over, someone new,
Yeah.
someone that's going to be there. I don't see, Naraku or Evil as being there long term. I expect him to have like an NXT run, like a Ricky Saints, where he's there, but he's not.
Yeah.
He's not there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
He's, you know, obviously a very good talent. And when he wasn't doing his House of Torture gimmick where everybody was interfering, he always had decent matches. He's a former IWGP, heavyweight champion. He's a former IWGP tag champion. He's very talented, the better half of Io Sky. And this will be a good match. I think the two main title matches are going to be, very good matches. But I expect Tony D'Angelo to retain the title and keep his momentum going. Someone to keep an eye out, potentially to get involved is, Mason Rook. He's been getting a
Yeah.
lot of publicity online, a lot of rub from people like John Cena. That's someone I could see, getting the big rub against Tony D'Angelo and
Yeah.
taking the title from him. So, that could be something to look forward to down the line. But it's going to be a good show. It's a shame that they're trying to split the audience, and you know, the diehard AEWs are going to watch AEW instead of this. The diehard WWEs are going to watch this. If you don't want to spend the money, you're going to watch NXT. But I'm just not a fan of splitting your audience and trying to you know, play against the competition. It doesn't benefit anybody, and it doesn't benefit your
Really.
product. It doesn't benefit the talent. You want to get as many eyes as you can on it, and I think, running this in the afternoon would have been a much better deal.
Because it would guarantee that their audience that also likes AEW would watch this show, because AEW is clearly going to be the better show.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. So that was our look at WWE Night of Champions and NXT Great American Bash.
From established superstars defending their place at the top to rising talent looking to make a statement, WWE has a massive weekend ahead, but once the final bell rings, the wrestling world doesn't slow down, it shifts its attention elsewhere.
Because while WWE is making headlines, another company is preparing for its biggest night of the year.
A company with a history of unforgettable moments, shocking surprises, and proving time and time again that it sometimes belongs in the conversation.
It's time to turn our attention to TNA Slammiversary.
Championships are on the line, rivalries are reaching their breaking point, and if Slammiversary's history has taught us anything, it's to expect the unexpected. So let's dive into TNA's biggest event of the summer and see what could be in store.
Slammiversary is going to take place on June 28th, 2026 at the Agganis Arena in Boston, Massachusetts. It's going to be the 22nd event under the Slammiversary chronology. It's going to be the 22nd event under the Slammiversary chronology, and we'll celebrate the promotion's 24th anniversary. TNA Slammiversary 2026 will be, like we said, the 28th at noon. Nope, just kidding. TNA Slammiversary 2026 will be on Sunday, the 28th at 3 p.m. Eastern. The UK can watch live on demand on Triller TV.
So there's a lot of talk with TNA in coming days,
Yep.
and what's been going on with TNA is they're reportedly up for sale with an asking price of anywhere from 30 to $50 million for TNA,
Yeah.
and that's just laughable uh, because they have an immense debt that everybody's been talking about. Their tape library, while it has value, I don't think the AMC TV deal makes up for all the issues going on with TNA. Whether it's talent, whether it's cost cutting, whether whether it's losing talent to WWE. I mean, it's just been a huge turnover for TNA, and it feels like the debut on AMC was the high point,
Yeah.
and that ever since that show started, it has just been a slow downward trajectory for TNA.
I mean, they took a lot of talent when they like kind of partnered with WWE. You know, they have Joe Hendry. I mean, it's just not the same. But I mean, I think TNA has always persevered. You know, they've gone through a lot of ups and downs over the years, and you know, I mean, I don't understand the money aspect of it or the TV deal situation, but I think it's a company worth keeping around. You know, at one time it was the WWE's biggest competition before AEW, you know, like it was up there. So, I don't know.
Yeah, they've always had these ebbs and flows of success and, issues, but, like we mentioned when they first went into partnership with WWE, I mean, look at the history of WWE and their partnerships. When has it succeeded or benefited their partner?
Right.
All their partners go out of business and then
Yeah.
they come in and they purchase it for pennies on the dollar. So it'll be interesting to see. Um, it's not as big of a star-studded card as you've seen in the past. And
There's still some great guys on there
yeah,
though.
they got some talent, but how long that talent's going to be here, that's something else to be seen and talked about.
Yeah. So let's get into it. The first match is a singles match. It's Eric Young versus Ricky Sosa. This match doesn't have a title associated with it or anything like that, but what's going on with these two guys? Is it notable?
So Ricky Sosa's been, an internet darling for, the last 6 months, getting a lot of publicity. Eric Young is the veteran of TNA,
Yeah.
so it's a perfect pairing. You have the old guard against the new guard, and Eric Young is a supreme talent. He's someone that can get anybody else over. He can have a good match with anyone. He's been with TNA from essentially the beginning. He's had runs in WWE, and I would expect Ricky Sosa to go over and to, you know, build upon this huge opportunity here.
Yeah. Then we're gonna have the X Division title Ultimate X match. So it looks like the current champ is Cedric Alexander. He's going up against Amazing Red, Frankie Kazarian, Fabian Aichner, Casey Navarro, Mr. Elegance, and Leon Slater. Who do you think's coming out with the win on this one?
So this is going to be actually one of the better matches on the night. It's the return of Amazing Red to TNA. So that'll be entertaining. I mean, there's some talent in this match. Leon Slater's fantastic. How much longer he's going to be in TNA, that remains to be seen.
Right.
He's heavily on AEW and WWE's radar. Uh, Frankie Kazarian is a long-standing TNA,
Yeah.
competitor.
He's like a staple
Yep.
of TNA in years past.
Yeah, and he's just coming off of world title run, and these guys are going to go all out. Casey Navarro is a talented up and coming wrestler. Uh, you'll have to tune in for one of our most recent interviews with Rico Gold, where he, gave his props to Casey Navarro as someone that helped him
Absolutely.
along the way.
You'll be able to hear that interview on July 23rd is when that's airing. Rico Gold, you don't want to miss it.
But this will be great to see Amazing Red back in an Ultimate X match. These matches, it's similar to, you know, for those that aren't familiar with TNA, it's like their Money in the Bank style match.
Yeah.
They'll get a title, they'll win the title here, and it's just a car crash that will be absolutely entertaining, and it's just good to see Amazing Red, who everybody has copied, everybody has, you know, taken, moves from to get his showcase again. So
Yeah.
good on him.
Then we're gonna have a singles match, Elijah versus AJ Francis. I feel like I don't AJ Francis was one of the guys with you know who I'm talking about? The big tall guy. Go ahead. Talk about it. I don't know what I'm saying.
AJ Francis has been in TNA for, a little while after his WWE release. He was with Hit Row and a part of Swerve Strickland's crew when they were in NXT and WWE.
Okay.
And He's been going back and forth with Elijah, former WWE superstar Elias.
Oh, duh, I know who that is.
Yes. So they've been going back and forth, and you know, this will be what it'll be. Um, Elijah's had a good run in TNA. AJ Francis, constantly gets these good opportunities, and he's had some good matches, whether it's with, Matt Hardy or teaming up with Casey Navarro and Cedric Alexander. So I expect Elijah to go over in this, but we'll see what happens.
Then we have a singles match, Eddie Edwards with Alicia Edwards versus Moose. I love Moose. Love him. So, do these guys have a story going right now? What's going on with Eddie Edwards and Moose?
Yeah, so Eddie Edwards and Moose used to be in the group The System together
Okay.
with Brian Myers, and Dango was with them,
Okay. I
and
remember
Bear
that.
Bronson's in there now. They kicked Moose out uh, after Dango retired, and Alicia Edwards stayed with Moose, but then turned on her at a recent pay-per-view. So this is, you know, Moose coming back for his revenge.
Yeah.
I expect Moose to pick up the win and start building Moose back up to a big time challenger and competitor, especially with the roster turnover that they could be seeing here.
Then we have a TNA International title match. So Mustafa Ali, the current reigning champ, has a mystery partner or a mystery opponent.
Yes, so they've described this person as a multi-time, WWE champion, whether that's tag champion, world champion, intercontinental champion, whatever it may be. This is someone from WWE. I could see this being someone, you know, you're not going to get, the best of the best. Like CM Punk's not walking through that door.
Mm.
I could see, yes, you're going to get a former WWE champion. Um,
I mean, there's a lot of people that have been champ. you know, silly. They could be silly champs. Jinder Mahal.
yes,
Ugh.
I could see
He,
this being a spot for Jinder Mahal to come in.
Jesus, he's got those weird droopy nipples. Not a fan.
Yeah, makes total sense here. He's former WWE World Champion. Uh, I have been a huge fan of Ali over the last year plus.
I've spoken highly of him anytime we've talked about him.
Whether he's been in the independents, like House of Glory, or, in TNA. I've really enjoyed what he's done, his character development. He's really bulked up in size as well,
Yeah.
looking like he's ready to take that next step. Could I see him dropping the title to then, make his way up for world title contention? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, but I think this, has the potential to be something notable. If they do it right, if, it is a solid match, which I expect Ali to do everything to make it a solid match,
Right.
it could be a lot of fun. But, Ali will have, his guys in the corner, our local guy, Agent Zero, Bill Collier, he'll be there. So we'll see. But that's one of the matches I'm actually looking forward to with the surprise and, just to see Ali in the ring and getting his showcase.
Definitely. Then we're gonna have the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Title match. So the Elegance brand, the current champs versus Allie and Rosemary. Is this the same Spooky Rosemary that
Yep.
we've
And
had?
Ali is the bunny.
Oh, she's back?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so I mean, the Elegance brand, I think, has been kind of dominating the tag team picture for a while now. So is this finally the time for them to be dethroned, or are they going to reign supreme, you think?
Yeah. I mean, Ali and Rosemary, they're longstanding, TNA veterans.
Yeah,
And it definitely could be time to see, the vets get the tag titles. I also, I don't, I like the Elegance brand. I think they're entertaining. The personal concierge, as annoying as he may be,
yeah,
is the perfect manager. I mean, that's what you want in a manager. Someone you want to see, get decked on the apron, someone to, take a hard fall. But, we'll see. Um, yeah, I think the Elegance brand is going to retain here and keep their momentum going.
Then we have the TNA World Tag Team Title three-way ladder match. So the System are the current champs. They're going against the Hardys, which are the OGs, and then the Righteous. Who do you think's going to walk away with the win on this?
I just want the Hardys to be able to walk away after this
I know
match.
they're getting up there.
I mean, still doing ladder matches. I understand it's their gimmick, but eventually you're going to have to stop.
Yeah.
And, you can always see the Hardys winning. They're, the biggest draws in TNA. They're
Yeah.
the best thing going for TNA. I think putting the titles back on them makes total sense. The more you can keep the Hardys front and center, the more you can get, every last ounce of their rub, helping your brand.
Yeah.
But, this should be an entertaining match. Bear Bronson has been great in GCW. I like Brian Myers, even though you don't like his counterpart, Matt Cardona.
Definitely not.
I definitely miss Matt Cardona in TNA. But, you know, Bronson is talented. He's young. He was on AEW and he's been a staple on the independents. So I'm glad that he's been getting this shine. And the Righteous are the Righteous. We got to see Dutch back at WrestleMania 35 weekend have a really good death match at the Joey Ryan show. So the fact that he's worked his way up and now he's in the tag team picture after being in Ring of Honor, in AEW, and now, going for the TNA tag team titles. So I expect the Hardys to pull out the win and, you know, give that happy moment here.
Definitely. Then we have the TNA Knockouts World Title match. We have Li Ying Li versus Zaya Brookside. So Li Ying Li is the current reigning champ right now. Um, is she going to walk away with this championship?
I think it's time for Zaya Brookside to finally get her big career-defining win.
Yeah.
The daughter of legendary, European wrestler Robbie Brookside. These two were former tag team partners, former best friends.
Yeah.
Zaya turned on Li Ying Li, and I think it's time for some new blood to get the title. Uh, Zaya has been all over the independents, all over the world. She started out very young
Yeah.
and she was in NXT before and now has become a staple in TNA. And I think it's her time to shine. And, what better way to put yourself on the map as a world champion than winning at one of TNA's biggest shows in Slammiversary?
Yeah. I agree. Then we have the TNA World Title match. So Mike Santana is the current champion. He's going up against Nick Nemeth. Um, I mean, of course, I want Mike Santana to take the win and keep the title. I'm not a Nick Nemeth fan. I mean, he's been in the game forever. I've never really liked him, but does he have a chance, or is Mike Santana going to reign supreme?
I think this is the end of the line for Mike Santana in TNA.
Oh, you think so?
Rumors are his contract's coming up. He's been on the WWE radar for some time, and I think he would be a perfect addition to NXT to
Yeah.
help up that brand and to bring some new blood and some new life.
I mean, he's very talented.
Yeah, he's awesome. I wish he would have never left AEW, but he's only elevated himself since leaving AEW.
Yeah,
And Nick Nemeth is perfect for TNA. He's a well-known name. He's going to be at the Altoona Curve game in a few weeks,
that's right.
wrestling after their show on another wrestling night. So I expect him to pull off the win, become world champion. And if he does, then that's pretty much the writing on the wall for Santana.
Yep.
If Santana retains, they could, do a title change at a later, weekly TV. But I think this is the time to put the strap back on Nick Nemeth, have him front and center, and this could be the exit for Mike Santana. But it should be a good match, regardless of, who's going where or who's doing what.
Yeah.
You got two veterans here, two guys that always want to go out and steal the show, and two guys that, if given the time, they're going to have, a really good match.
Yeah.
So This will be fun to watch. It'll be the lead in to the nightly TV. So, hopefully they get some eyes on it, and hopefully they actually step up and, have a good pay-per-view. TNA really needs to have a good show here to start getting the discussion away from, you know, all their financial and, ownership issues to focus on the in-ring product
Yeah.
and get the eyes back on that and the talent that they do have and the talent that they can elevate and, make them stand out. Um, like we said, the WWE partnership, I don't know how good that has been for this part of the TNA run. I mean, obviously, when they had Trick Williams coming in every week and they were also featured on NXT TV, that was a great rub for them. But since that stopped and since, some of their top talent have gone to WWE,
Yeah.
it's been a bit of a struggle for them. So they could really use a good show here to get people talking about the good in TNA.
I feel like there's a lot here. There's a lot to work with, and there's no reason why it shouldn't be a good show. Like, there's a ton of great talent, and these matches are going to be, have the potential to be excellent. So maybe it'll be a surprise for us this weekend with this show.
Yeah, it's easy to see it, come together on paper, but now you got to go out and the talent has to deliver a
Yeah,
quality show.
yeah. And that's our preview of TNA Slammiversary.
No matter what happens, Slammiversary always feels like a reminder of how deep the wrestling landscape has become. TNA continues to carve out its own identity, build new stars, and give fans plenty to talk about long after the show goes off the air.
But as big as Slammiversary is, the wrestling weekend still isn't over.
Because now we're moving from one major company showcase to a truly because now we're moving from one major company showcase to a truly global event.
We're crossing promotional lines, crossing borders, and bringing together some of the biggest names from around the wrestling world.
It's time to step through the Forbidden Door.
AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door once again brings together the stars of All Elite Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and CMLL and Stardom for a night that celebrates professional wrestling at a worldwide stage.
Dream matches, interpromotional battles, championship implications, and the kind of matchups that fans spend years fantasy booking before they ever become a reality.
So let's close out this incredible wrestling weekend by breaking down Forbidden Door and seeing which company, which stars, and which moments could end up stealing the entire show. This is going to be the 5th annual Forbidden Door and first to be officially co-promoted by CMLL and Stardom. The event's going to take place Sunday night at 8 o'clock at the SAP Center in San Jose, California. So for the first time, Forbidden Door is going to feature the finals of the men's and women's Owen Hart Foundation tournament, becoming the 3rd AEW pay-per-view overall to play host to them. The 0-hour pre-show starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, and the main card starts at 8. The major outlets carrying the 5th annual Forbidden Door event are going to be a HBO Max exclusive $39.99 subscriber pricing, and active Max subscription is required to purchase and view. For the global audience, it's going to be on Prime Video, and it won't require a Prime membership to purchase the pay-per-view. It's also going to be on payperview.com, available for direct online streaming and YouTube. Check out the official All Elite Wrestling YouTube channel for streaming links and the pre-show 0 hour starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. The buy-in is going to be the AEW TBS title Survival of the Fittest qualifying match. So the first match is going to be the AEW TBS title Survival of the Fittest qualifying match, Micah versus Sky Blue. Now, talk to me about Micah because I know who Sky Blue is. She's incredibly talented. We like her a lot. How's this match going to go?
Mike is from Stardom. She's been wrestling for about 7 years. She was trained by Taka Michinoku. She goes by the Strong Girl or the Crimson Cannon Empress. Some of her big moves are the Brainbuster and the Michinoku Driver. She comes highly ranked. Her current rating on Cage Match is an 8.16. So this is a way to get Stardom involved. I expect Sky Blue to pick up the win here. She lost in the first round of the Owen Hart tournament,
Yeah.
and she's a big time fan favorite. And we're coming up to the actual survival of the fittest match, which is going to be on AEW TV upcoming. And yeah, it'll be entertaining. But I'm glad the women are getting the showcase on the buy-in 0 hour here. So yeah, I expect Sky Blue to hold her own and should be an entertaining match.
Yeah, and I feel like anybody that comes out of Stardom, typically you speak pretty highly of them, and so this looks like it's going to be a very promising match. We're also going to have the AEW Women's World Tag Team Title match. So the Double D's, Divine Dominion, the current and reigning champs are going against Olympia and my girl Thunder Rosa. This will be an exciting match. I don't think it's time to take off the belt from Divine Dominion, but what say you, babe?
Yeah, I don't think it's time for them to drop the titles yet. If they're going to drop the titles, I think you see that at All In to the Brawling Birds. That makes way more sense to
Yeah.
have, the two British women's wrestlers pick up the win in their home area.
Yeah.
But to be able to see Olympia and Megan Bain and Lena Cross, share the ring, I
Mhm.
mean, you're going to have three, you know, really big women. They're both tall. They're all, in great shape. So it'll be a sight to see. Olympia's from CMLL,
Okay.
and she's jacked.
Yeah.
So it'll be entertaining. Thunder Rosa always brings it. She's got a dual contract with CMLL, so she's been working more shows down there, and it's always good to see her getting a little bit of a showcase and be the veteran in this matchup.
Yep. I love Thunder Rosa. Then for the main card, we're going to start with the three-way tag team match. So the Young Bucks versus El Sky team, and the Unbound Co. Who are they? They're from New Japan?
Yep.
Shingo Takagi and Titan.
Hmm.
And then the Sky team is Mascara Dorada and Mystico. And then, of course, we have the Young Bucks. So for this match, I mean, is this simply just to get, across the multiple companies, or is there a feud going between these guys?
No, no feud here. You're getting, three great teams. This could absolutely steal the show. Anytime the Young Bucks are in a match, they're going to go all out.
Yeah,
But you're adding Dorada and Mystico to this match. I mean, just those two teams alone, you're going to have a fantastic match.
right.
Now you're throwing in Shingo and Titan. So this could be awesome. Uh, I can't speak highly enough of the Young Bucks. As I've stated on here numerous times, they're in my top 5 for tag teams all time. They're in fantastic shape, and to be able to see Nick Jackson and Dorada and Nick Jackson and Mystico
Yeah.
share the ring, I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be awesome. I think the Young Bucks are gonna pick up the win here, and we're gonna build towards that, you know, either Young Bucks and, Cope and Christian, or maybe that Young Bucks New Day match that has been teased for years and years and years coming up here.
Then moving on, we have the IWGP Global Heavyweight title match. Shota Umino, the current reigning champ, is going up against Pac. Now, this match could be incredible.
So Shota just picked up the global title in a three-way match, winning from Andrade at Dominion. And Shota and the current IWGP World Champion Yota Tsuji have been very adamant about not wanting to defend their titles on AEW TV.
Yeah.
They've been outspoken against the partnership, citing that it doesn't really benefit New Japan and that they are New Japan wrestlers. Uh, Shota used to be the, you know, young boy for John Moxley.
Yeah.
He helped him, you know, develop his persona and effectively has been excommunicated from the Death Riders. So getting this opportunity against someone like Pac,
Yeah.
who's absolutely one of the best wrestlers in the world, is going to be a huge test for him. Shota's had an up and down run with New Japan.
Yeah.
The fans haven't really got behind him like the company expected him to. But if he comes out and he delivers this huge showcase match with Pac, it opens the door for a lot more. And I think Shota is going to pick up the win and keep the title. But this could further, his feud with the Death Riders. And I would expect a Shota Gabe Kidd match here in the near future.
Then we have the AEW Women's World Title match, Tekla versus the Starlight Kid. I don't know who the Starlight Kid is. What company is she with?
She's from Stardom.
Okay.
She's one of their big stars. When they were announcing this pay-per-view, my two choices for, putting the AEW Women's World Title match first was, of course, the Wrestler of the Year from Tokyo Sports last year, Saya Kamitani, or Starlight Kid. Starlight Kid is a huge, huge baby face over in Stardom. This should be a fantastic match. Tekla's been having nothing but issues with Stardom
Yeah.
since she got fired from Stardom, and she's continued her feud with the president of Stardom, across the country, across multiple shows and promotions. So I don't expect this to end here. And could this be the introduction to one of the biggest Stardom stars ever to come defend Stardom and defend the honor of the company in possibly a returning Kyrie tonight?
Oh, yeah, that'd be incredible.
You know, Tekla says she wants to bury Stardom, she wants to destroy it, and if she gets through Starlight Kid and makes her way, what bigger surprise than to have Kyrie come out and challenge her,
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know, the Pirate Princess? That would be a big thing.
Yeah.
And Tony Khan, we know he'll pay, and we know he'll allow, you know, his talent to work both shows and not be necessarily full time with one or the other. And it makes total sense. If the rumors were true and Kyrie wanted to spend more time in Japan, I know I don't think Tony Khan would have an issue with that as long as he could get, you know, Kyrie for the shows that he wanted to get her for.
Right.
So I expect Tekla to go over, but wouldn't shock me in the least if we get a big surprise here.
Then we're gonna have the match I'm looking forward to most. Kenny Omega is, one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. Zack Sabre Jr. is one of my favorite technical wrestlers, and so like to get them in the ring together for this show is going to be awesome. I'm not, up on their feud if they've wrestled previously or how many times they've wrestled, but I am just excited because I really like both of these wrestlers. I mean, who do you think's going to come away with the win on this?
I think it has to be Omega.
Yeah.
Uh, they've been building this Kenny Omega maybe one final title run
Mhm.
at some point, and you got to keep Kenny strong. Kenny's going to be great. He's going to go all out for this match. This is a big showcase match for both wrestlers, and I don't think they're going to leave anything out in their arsenal. I think we're going to see everything on full display.
Yeah.
And, what's more exciting to me is where is this match going to be placed on the card? I mean, this is, you know, do you start with this match? Who's going to want to follow this match?
Who can follow it?
And it's going to be a great match. I expect Kenny to pick up the win, but I just hope they give them 20 plus minutes and we get to see, you know, Kenny in his finest. It would be interesting because this is Forbidden Door. Are we going to get the old Kenny Omega music? Are we going to get the cleaner, the
Yeah.
best bout machine? That's what I really want to see. And, I'm just excited for this match. And I think, one of the only other matches that are going to have a chance at either upping this match or coming close to this match is the match we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, the Owen Hart Foundation 2026 men's tournament final match. So Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay is the match. I mean, both are incredible competitors. I feel like it almost has to be Will that wins this match, because there's so much pending for the future, and he is like one of the stars for AEW. But what do you think? I mean, do you agree with that?
Yeah, everything is built for All In. All In is AEW's WrestleMania,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be at Wembley in London, Will Ospreay's hometown.
Yep.
Everything's built to get Will Ospreay there to become champion,
Yep.
and this is gonna be an outstanding match. Swerve is one of the best in the world, and Will Ospreay is right there with him, and these guys are gonna go all out.
Yeah.
Just like following Kenny and Zach is going to be hard, following this match is going to be
This is going to be one of
even
the
harder.
matches of the night for sure.
These guys are going to go all out. We know Will Ospreay will do anything, and once he gets in that ring, anything is possible.
Yeah.
And Swerve, he can take it a number of different ways. He can go aerial. He can brawl with you. He can, street fight. It's going to be interesting to see where they go with this match, but this could be match of the night here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I expect this to be a classic.
Then we have the, Owen Hart Foundation 2026 Women's Tournament final match, Mercedes Moné versus Maya World. I mean, Mercedes has to win this, right? I mean, we got to get her back on top, or what do you think?
I mean, the interesting thing in this is both these women weren't even announced for this tournament when the cards were made. Uh, Mercedes was the fill-in for Willow, and Maya was a fill-in for Sari. So big opportunity here. Maya is coming off of, this is the best run of her career, the biggest opportunity she's ever gotten, and it's also coming off of the biggest tragedy of her life. If you haven't seen her story, her younger brother uh, died recently, right before her entry into this tournament, and they've given her this showcase, and she's picked up win after win. She beat Sky Blue to advance in the tournament, and then she beat Athena to advance to the finals.
Athena is like beatable right now.
The forever Ring of Honor Women's Champion.
Yeah.
So she's only lost a few times recently. One of those to Mercedes Moné, who has come back and has picked up right where she was previously in AEW
Yeah.
and winning matches. And it sets up, for Mercedes and Tekla, which would be an awesome match. But it also wouldn't shock me if they continue to push Maya World and give her a huge opportunity. Um, I know it's not the biggest drawing card, putting Maya World against Tekla, but it would be a great story. It would give an opportunity. Yeah, it would give an opportunity to Maya World to, stand up and show what she can do. It's a sink or swim type opportunity, and I know in a match like this, Mercedes is going to go all out to make Maya look like, the next big thing. So it'll be interesting to see, but it makes sense for Mercedes to win, but it certainly wouldn't shock me if they went with the huge upset here.
Right. Then we have the AEW Continental title match, Jon Moxley, which is the current champ versus Bandito. I mean, is Bandito going to get something eventually?
I mean, he's the current Ring of Honor World
Is
Champion.
he?
Yeah. So again, this is another match that could steal the show. Bandito always has fantastic pay-per-view matches. Jon Moxley is Mr. AEW.
100%. That guy never takes time off.
Right. And I don't expect this to be anything short of a great match. And I expect Moxley to retain and continue this. Uh, I think eventually you're going to see, Moxley and Osprey clash,
Yeah.
before they head to All In as like the final crossing point for Osprey to get over the hump and become the man. And, this will further Moxley as being one of the best in AEW, and just should be an overall good match.
Then we have the AEW World Tag Team title match. Cope and Christian are the current champs. They're going against the Dogs. I mean, Do the dogs have a chance here? I just don't think it's time to take that title off them.
There's no way that the dogs are winning here. I would be thoroughly shocked if the dogs pulled off the win here. You want to see Cope and Christian at All In as the tag team champion.
Yes.
The big question here is, does Gabe Kidd get involved? Does FTR get involved in any shape or form? We haven't really seen them since they lost the titles. They said, on X that they were going to be taking time away. So we'll see if they get involved. But I fully expect Cope and Christian to win this match and continue on as tag team champions, building towards a big all-in match.
Then we have a steel cage match. So MJF is in this match. He's the current champ. Darby Allin is in this match. Takeshita, the conglomeration. Part of the Don Callis family. Andrade, Alito, Jake Doyle, Kazuchika Okada, Kevin Knight, and Kyle Fletcher. Now, is this every man for himself in this situation, or?
No. So the stipulation here is if Darby, Takeshita, the conglomeration beat the Don Callis family and MJF, Briscoe gets a world title match.
Okay, I missed that was that group of guys versus that group of guys. I just thought it was a whole bunch of guys.
No. Yeah, it is a massive cage match. I fully expect that the conglomeration, Darby and Takeshita, pick up the win here to set up a Briscoe MJF match as one of the final stops before All In next month. And it wouldn't shock me at all if Andrade walks out in this match. He's been, very upset with Don Callis and the fact that, he's having to help MJF when he wants a world title match.
Right.
Kyle Fletcher also wants a world title match. Kevin Knight wants a world title match. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes.
Is there going to be a few cracks in the Don Callis family?
There very well could be. You already saw the first one with Takeshita leaving. I think this also is going to set up and build towards the Takeshita-Kyle Fletcher match.
Yeah,
which you could see at All In. But I expect this match to be completely different from the cage match you're going to see in WWE.
Oh, way more blood, way more, oh shit, is Darby dead?
Yep. Darby's going to do what Darby does. Mark Briscoe's going to bleed all over the place. I would expect MJF to bleed all over the place. This is going to be interesting. It's going to be wild, and it's going to be a hell of a way to end a wild wrestling weekend.
Yeah, definitely. So that's going to do it for our breakdown of one of the biggest wrestling weekends we've seen in a while.
From WWE Night of Champions and NXT Great American Bash to TNA Slammiversary, all the way through the Forbidden Door. This weekend is stacked from top to bottom with championship implications, breakout moments, and surprises that are going to have people talking and arguing online for the next week.
We'll see which predictions age well and which ones we'll probably pretend we never made.
But that's the fun of it.
If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next, because we've got interviews, reviews, and plenty more wrestling talk on the way.
Follow us on social media at the Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling Pod. And as always, we appreciate everyone who takes the time to listen, share, and grow with us.
For Mr. Wrestling
and Mrs. Wrestling,
we'll see you on the next one. This has been the Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling Podcast.
Hold up. Before we start the show, we gotta address something.
Yeah, the fact that you still don't own our merch.
Disrespectful, honestly. You listen every week. You yell at your phone when I'm right.
You mean when you think you're right?
Either way, you're not repping the brand. That's a problem.
Big problem, because the Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling Podcast shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees, main event material.
Soft, comfortable, championship level drip.
Perfect for Raw, perfect for Dynamite, perfect for sitting on the couch judging creative decisions like you book the territory.
And let's be honest, when you walk into a show wearing our logo,
you're basically saying I've got elite taste.
Who's your favorite wrestling podcast?
Who runs the hot takes?
Who brings the chaos every week?
Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling. So stop playing.
Search Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling on Pro Wrestling Tees.
Grab the shirt.
Join the movement.
And look better than Mr. Wrestling while you're at it.
Okay, wow. We're ending strong.
We are ending strong in our merch.